Hello guys, welcome back to another video. This week, I think we're going to take a break on this motor. The next thing that needs to happen is it needs to be torn down again, and we'll need to order some gaskets for it, head gaskets as well as some 30 over rings. But I just put it together, so I don't want to take it apart. I really don't want to take it apart, but it does need to happen if we want to drive this truck. So there's still other things I like to do, particularly to the Torino. So let me tell you guys my plans for that. Lately, the Torino's been great. I've been driving it a lot. Got everything tuned in pretty well. There's no real hesitation, flat spots anywhere. It just runs and drives and does exactly what you want it to do. But there are some places that I think that we could improve upon it. I recently did the intake manifold gaskets on it because it was burning oil. It is way less now. It also doesn't leak oil, but it does leak transmission fluid. That's, another story. There's a couple things I want to improve. One, I think the stance could be improved. It sits, I don't know, it just sits very flat. I think it sits a little too high in the front and it sits a little too low in the back. I don't necessarily want it to have a rake, but I don't necessarily want it to look squatted, which it kind of does at the moment, especially on different inclines. If it's like sloped down, it looks good, but if it's sloped up on a hill like this, it looks dumb. There are ways that we can improve that. I also think we can improve it aesthetically by me actually fixing the trim pieces that go here, which I should have done like a bajillion years ago. So, how are we going to fix the stance problem? I just ordered some new airline nuts for my Motorcraft air shocks, and we are probably going to be putting those on tomorrow because I don't have the line kit yet. But I used to have these bad boys on there until, I broke them. But I have since welded a new bolt onto both of them, and now we are set to go, except my airline kit sucks. So we'll put those bad boys on there, and that'll fix a lot of the stance. I think it'll help a lot by getting that rear end up in the air a little more. The other thing I want to do to the suspension in the front is I'd really like to do a Shelby drop on the front. Now, I know it can lower the front. I don't necessarily want it to lower the front any more than it is, but I would like to just experiment with the free, essentially free suspension modification of dropping the upper control arm 1 inch. So now, how are we looking as far as ride height on the front? My headers are pretty close to the ground in some places. I do live on a gravel road, so I do bottom out a couple times, and I've been known to level the road a little bit. But there's probably, there's enough ground clearance, so if it ended up lowering an inch or something, or half an inch, I wouldn't be too worried about it. Another place I really would like to improve upon is the engine bay. We've added some things and just messed around a lot in here, and it definitely could look a whole lot better. And I really would like to go through that here this week and just make this engine bay way better. So you can get you a look at it right now, and hopefully by the end of the week, we'll have a completely transformed engine bay. So anyway, guys, I guess the only thing to do is just get to work. Me and Dad also put a 400 watt 12-inch sub in the back of this weekend. However, I went for a drive last night, and I don't know if I burned up the voltage regulator or what, but I got 10 minutes away from the house and it stopped charging. So I was very concerned, and I was worried wasn't gonna make it back home. Thankfully I did. I got the McBeef battery over here, so it lasted, but I'm reluctant to hook that back up. I tried a different voltage regulator this morning and that fixed it, but I am reluctant to plug the amp back in, if that was what was, I don't know what it did. I don't know. I checked for any dead shorts. It's fused, so, I'm not for sure on that. It did work just fine, but apparently I didn't want to charge after a while, so I guess it is what it is there. But another thing on the list of things we could do this week to the Torino, ignoring the truck, is set up a choke. This choke cable came out of the truck, and the problem with my choke for the Torino before was that the choke cable I had was too short. So I really was it was very not useful to reach it under the dash. But I think we could reset it up, especially with it being colder here recently. Set that up, set the fast idle screw up correctly, And just overall, it might be nice to have a choke on warm up, because this does take a while to warm up with the heat crossovers blocked off. So anyway, that's that. Engine bay, Shelby drop, choke. If we get those 3 things done this week, that would be awesome. All right, guys, just finished up, I think, most of the engine makeover. Overall, it may look pretty much the same, but I'll show you here. I changed a couple things up. I routed the return fuel line along with the heater core lines. It will probably heat up the fuel a little more than the way I had it on top of the intake, but at least it's out of the way. I really don't think it's going to be that big a deal. It should only be at 190 anyway, so it should be good there. I made zip tie wire looms for this. I did learn on these, you should probably put your zip ties upside down so you can't see the head of it. On these, I did learn that, obviously. Something to point out there. Went ahead and I put all the wires back in there. I hooked the carb cheater back up here because I have the screen now in there, so I might as well have it hooked up. I routed the oil pressure line, which I'm gonna get a copper line instead of this plastic death line, and it goes up there instead of on top of the intake manifold as well. That should be a little bit safer. Also, I had a vacuum T in here, and I had my vacuum modulator line hooked up to the T, and also hooked up to the distributor and then to here. But I went ahead and I figured out, well, I had a cap on this forever, and I just put my vacuum gauge on it, fired it up, and this has manifold vacuum here. So hooked the vacuum modulator up to that, got rid of the T. Now the distributor just plugs in to the manifold vacuum, as well as the 2 carb cheater ports. So pretty neat there. Another huge thing I'm super happy about, I just finished up installing this choke cable, which I know I've done it in the past, but it wasn't ever very good because it was too short. However, there was one in the truck, and I stole it out of there and I put it in here, and it works really well. I went ahead and I adjusted the idle cam out a little bit, and it's so nice to have a choke. I can't tell you how nice it is to just turn the key, pull a little bit, and it'll just stay there and idle instead of trying to fight it with your foot for a while for it to warm up. Super thrilled about that. I also added shrink wrap anywhere I didn't have it before. Put that hood scoop turn signal in a plastic thing there. I put all the wires that we had run along this in plastic. Fixed a couple of tape spots that I had. Got rid of my overflow jug. I just put that in there for the no names. There wasn't a single drop of water in that jug, so now I just have the overflow coming out here again. So, you know, who really cares? I don't really care. I don't like the jug being there, so it's gone now. I might touch up a couple of these paint spots. There should be another subframe structure piece here, but I took it out way back when we did the cam swap on this, and I never put it back in. I don't really want to, so is it for structural reasons? Probably, but it does seem pretty strong, just the way it is. So I spent, I don't know, about 3 hours on this, and it's just way better in every way. It makes me very, very happy. Routed the wires a little bit better too, the plug wires. Just everything is better and well adjusted, so I'm pretty happy with it. And cleaner looking, hopefully. Hopefully you can tell on camera. It just looks like a mess, I'm sure, on camera, but, you know, it's better in real life. And there's the final touch, the air cleaner. Probably should get a new sticker for it one of these days, but maybe you'll get like a Hypo 352. I don't know if that's a sticker, but like 352 Hypo would be pretty cool. Because it's a 352, so that would be pretty neat. All right, guys, it is about a week later, and I have finished all of the tasks that I assigned myself. I guess it's been last week, so I guess it's been about 2 weeks since the beginning of this. I meant to shoot this earlier, just didn't have time. Thanksgiving was in the middle of all this. It is awesome. The wheel fitment is fantastic. I love it in the front, especially. Super duper awesome wheel fitment. We ended up dropping it about 3/4 of an inch for the Shelby drop. So that's what we ended up with, and I measured it from this body line right there. So that's where I measured it from. And we ended up dropping it about 3/4 of an inch in the front. I added my new air shock line from my old Motorcraft air shocks. Works fantastic. I had them jacked up quite a bit more than this, but currently we went for a relatively long drive, so I let most of the air out. But I still think the fitment is very solid back here as well, and I probably will just leave it here for a while, unless I just want it to be, you know, way up high in the back. But you can see here, it's, you know, about that much. And right now, it's about 1.5 inches higher than it was before too, with about 15 pounds of air in the shocks. So pretty awesome. I am super happy. When I finished the Shelby drop and put the airline kit on and dropped it back and rolled it back, I was just so happy with how the stance looked. It was just really tough looking, and I loved it. I went for a test drive, and the front end is a lot tighter, and I had about 50 to 75 pounds of air in the air shocks at that time, and it was very rough. We lost a lot of the cushiony of the suspension, but it's very tight up front now. Handles corners a lot better, handles bump steer a lot better. Just overall really nice. And again, I didn't video any of me doing the Shelby drop. If you want a good video for that, go check out Fast Forwards 289. He made a fantastic video on doing the Shelby drop on his 68 Fairlane. His video was just very good, and I felt like I didn't need to do that. Plus, I just had some fun working on my car. So, like I said, I might set it up a little bit higher in the back, but it's got about an inch of rake to it. So, you know, it's just a little bit lower in the front and the back, and that's exactly how I want it to be. I think it's just about perfect. Say it's tighter up front, overall quite a bit better. Only thing I have against this Shelby drop so far is that 3/4 of an inch was just enough that my headers, because they're the power steering header variety, now rub my driveway a lot, which is a gravel driveway, and it's, you know, very unflat, and everywhere else I never had a problem, never bottomed out on anyone else's driveway or anything else, but just our driveway, I hit my headers if I'm not careful about where I steer. So that's the only negative I can see towards the Shelby drop as of right now. The choke has been super nice. It started with the choke the other day in 17-degree morning. It's fantastic to have a choke finally that works. Engine bay is nice and tidy. I added the airline kit that I bought to use with my air shocks. Was an AC Delco kit from Amazon, and it worked very well. The nuts were very high quality, way better than the kit I bought before. So AC Delco, if you're looking for an airline kit for your old air shocks maybe, then that would be a good one to go for. So I really hope you guys enjoyed this video, and we'll see you next time on It'll Run, where we'll probably be working on the truck 390, which is right there. We also bought this truck. Maybe it'll be in a video in the upcoming future. It doesn't run. 92 Toyota. Anyway guys, thanks for watching. We'll see you next time on It'll Run.